Commission, which is being recorded. You please stand and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Soil permit for Serious Business LLC, soil permit number 501, map 55, lot 3536, Hicksbridge Road.
Just go up to the mic, announce your name, Chris, for the record.
Good evening, I'm Christopher Fortier. I own Serious Business LLC.
Thank you.
Serious Business, Mr. Chairman and members, this is requesting a stockpile and soil permit. This is an address which is 0 Hicksbridge Road, but it's considered map 55, lots 35 and 36 Hicksbridge Road. He's requested a stockpile soil permit for his business. He currently is cleared an area, as you see. If you flip the page, you'll see the area more highlighted. It's about 32 to 35,000 square feet right now that he's opened up in order to relocate his business from Sodom Road. The request is for a new soil permit to stockpile materials on the property located across the street from the town transfer station on the south side of Hicksbridge Road. The access into the property has been upgraded to allow access for construction vehicles from both directions. The site is to be used for equipment storage and stockpiling of earth minerals for use in the applicant's construction business. The area for storage will be 1 acre in size into the rear portion of the open area. Wetlands are not located with any of the activity, and they're actually approximately 200 feet down slope from this proposed storage location. If anybody's familiar with the property, it was owned by the Tripp, still is owned by the Tripp family. They used to take wood out of there for the pilings for the docks that Kenny used to construct. There always was an access into the property. It just kind of was never really maintained and open, so Chris has, again, created this area for this general business use. He's not selling materials out of here. This is just to allow him, if he has excess materials, to drop it on site and maybe be able to use it on a future job. Recommendations for the board, the Westport Conservation Commission Soil Conservation Board should approve soil permit number 501 for 1 year for Serious Business, Hicksbridge Road. And that's an acre, up to an acre of area, which he is not planning.
Any questions, Chris?
No.
Any questions from the audience? All right, no questions from the table, a motion?
Second.
Okay. Motion from Jake, second from Jason. All in favor? Opposed? That's unanimous. All right, thank you, Chris.
Thank
You
you.
can get that at the office tomorrow, maybe.
Have a good night.
Okay, septic repair for Betty Ann Soroyce, 99 Sylvia's Lane. Mark, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Happy holidays, everybody.
Too bud.
Same to
Feeling a little
you.
like Christmas today, wasn't it?
Should have left your beard long like Santa Claus. You've been all
It's
set.
up to start. It stays like this. Mark Roberts, Analysis and Design Engineering. I'm here to present septic repair for Betty Ann Soroyce, 99 Sylvia's Lane. This is a small lot, 5,250 square feet, 70 by 75 feet. It's located obviously down on Sylvia's Lane. The lot itself is about 85 feet from the water's edge of the Westport River, and about 90% of the lot lies within a floodplain of VE 16. I've highlighted the elevation 16 on the lot. What we're proposing to do is replace the non-compliant system with a bottomless sand filter system pre-treated with a Fuji for maximum nitrogen reduction, discharging to a small pump chamber, and then to the bottomless sand filter, which is 6 by 18 feet. This plan has gone before the Board of Health yesterday, as a matter of fact, last evening, and was approved for installation. So what we're looking for is just some endorsement from Conservation that we are less than 100 feet from the resource area and lying within the land subject to flooding coastal.
Thank you.
That's all.
Chris?
Mr. Chairman, members, Betty Ann Soroyce, 99 Sylvia's Lane. This is a request for determination of applicability filed by Mark Rodricks from ADE Engineering. Report date is December 4th, 2025. Thank you, Mark. Board of Health approval for this filing. Detailed description of the work. The owner has filed to construct a repair to the existing sewage disposal system at 99 Sylvia's Lane. The site is located 89 feet from mean high water, which is physically across a gravel way and the neighbor's property, and within the riverfront and flood zone VE elevation 16. The work will require the installation of a bottomless sand filter with a septic tank with a Fuji advanced treatment unit. The bottomless sand filter is a perfect fit for this small location with the wells that surround the property. The activity is exempt under the Rivers Protection Act for a septic repair and will not cause any flood zone concerns with this specifically low profile design of the bottomless sand filter. Resource areas to be impacted is buffer zone, flood zone, and riverfront. Recommendations for the board: the Westport Conservation Commission should approve the bottomless sand filter design system for 99 Sylvia's Lane with a negative box 2 determination.
Any questions, Mark?
No, sir.
No comments? Okay. Any comments,
I
questions?
just have one question. Is there anything specific about the Fuji Advanced Treatment Unit, like mentioned by brand? Is there something that you...
It is one of the approved technologies for nitrogen reduction. Other systems you'd see might be Advantex or Singulair, or other systems, Vast, or other nitrogen reducing systems. It offers a maximum nitrogen reduction. And approved by DEP.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Good
great.
question.
I just,
They're relatively new.
yeah.
How's the price?
They're relatively high. They're competitive with the other. You have a small footprint, though, that's one of the things.
Yeah, so I want to smile.
And not preceded by a septic
Yeah,
tank.
I've got a place that, not my primary house, but another one that at some point will need an upgrade. It's a small lot, and,
Hence your question, right?
you know, just waiting.
All right. Any questions from the table? If not, a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve with negative box 2.
Okay, that was Jason and Jake. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you, Mark. I don't have a sign sheet for this, guys, in case you wonder.
You don't have a sheet to sign?
No
Mr.
sheet in front
Chairman?
of me,
Why don't you start with the next proceeding and I will go get you one.
no. Thank you, sir. And a clip for you, too. Mark, have a good night. All right. Gregory Lavoie, Tri-Spec, notice of intent, 179 Robert Street, to repair septic system and a buffer zone to wetland, riparian zone to perennial stream, and flood zone A.
Good evening, Will Connolly, Zenith Consulting Engineers for the record. So the site is 179 Robert Street. There's an existing 3-bedroom house with a failed septic on site, which we're proposing an upgrade to. The site is bordered by a perennial stream to the south, Soddy Pond to the west, BVW across the street to the east, and a majority of the site is located in flood zone A. Proposing a 1,500-gallon microfast tank, 1,000-gallon pump chamber, and a stone and pipe leaching field. As you can see in these dashed arcs, those are the 100-foot radii to the well and subject property as well as the abutting property. So we pretty much stuck the leaching field the only place we could. We're proposing a dewatering basin, which is to be used if necessary, as well as silt sock, which will wrap around the limit of work that will work, stay in place until the entire site is stabilized. So I think that's about it. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, we'll read the report and then see if there's any questions, okay? So Gregory Lavoie, Tri-Spec Corp., 179 Robert Street, notice of intent, Zenith Engineering, report dates 12/4, file numbers SE 80-28118, agency required to be contacted, and status, which is DP, and site visit was done on 12/4, detailed description of work. The applicant has filed a notice of intent to replace septic system on the property. The site borders on Soddy Pond and a perennial stream that flows into the pond under Robert Street. The site has limited area to locate the sewage disposal system and needs a variance to allow work. The proposed design cannot meet the minimum setback of 50 feet from the wetland or from the bank of the stream. The design, as constructed within 25 feet of the wetland and 40 feet from the culvert pipe of the stream inlet. The leaching field will be raised approximately 3 feet above existing elevation. The septic tank and the microfast tank will be placed in the rear of the yard, 30 feet from the resource area. Erosion control and area controls will be installed around the entire site and will serve as a limit of work. An area for dewatering has been provided on the plan, and the groundwater discharge may be needed to install the septic system. Resource areas to be impacted are buffer zone and riverfront, and the recommendations the Westport Conservation Commission should approve contingent on the Board of Health approval with standard conditions for the disposal system at 179 Robert Street. Have you gone to the Board of Health yet?
To my knowledge, we have not received Board of Health approval yet.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions?
Chair, I think the only question I have for him, so the leaching field is going to be 3 feet higher. Is that going to cause any water runoff into the perennial stream or any other issues with the wetlands there? Could you say it's a 3 foot, or actually, yeah, basically a yard?
Yeah.
Will that create any runoff or any issues that you guys see?
I mean, it's going from lawn to lawn, so
Okay.
there will be a little bit of a slope there, but I don't think it'll create
As long
any
as it's going-
adverse
okay.
effects.
Thank you.
Phil, you have any questions?
No, I don't believe it's been before the board yet, but I agree, the mounted system will, and there's certain slopes to the controls, runoff.
Any questions from the audience? All right, if no more questions, look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to Board of Health approval,
Second.
With standard conditions, right?
with standard conditions.
All right, that was Jason and Kevin. In favor, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous, so, thank you.
All right, thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Gordon.
You're welcome. Chris might have got kidnapped.
Maybe he fell down the stairs.
No. All right, Westport Dental, notice of intent, 708 Sanford Road to construct addition in the parking lot and improvements in the buffer zone.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Commission. Brad Holmes with ECR on behalf of Westport Dental.
Do we have the green cards, Brad?
I have the certificates of mailing.
All right, that's great. Thank you, sir.
Yep. What we propose is a notice of intent for a proposed addition at Westport Dental and a parking lot improvement. I'm sure you know the property. The dental building is here, the parking lot is here. There's a bordering vegetated wetland that runs along the eastern portion of the site. The buffer zone pretty much encompasses the majority of the property. What we're proposing is an addition off the rear of the building here, generally within the existing maintained lawn area. We're proposing 4 new parking spaces at the end of the existing parking area. These parking spaces are proposed as gravel. The remaining area of the parking lot would be resurfaced. There's a minor amount of grading to bring that area up and blend into the adjacent lawn. We are proposing some stormwater improvements because this is a commercial property. So S&K Engineering has designed a riprap spreader here to diffuse of the stormwater, leaving the parking area. And we're also proposing roof infiltration unit to handle the stormwater collected from the roof. The project is designed so it's just at or just a piece inside the 25-foot buffer zone. It's trying to stay along that 25-foot limit. As I said, it's generally maintained lawn area through here. We'll obviously install erosion controls prior to any work start. There's additional details, and I know that the engineer has coordinated with the conservation agent to go over some of the other details and instructed to come forward with a notice of intent, and that's why we're here. So with that, I'll bring it back to you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Westport Dental, 708 Sanford Road, notice of intent, S&K Engineering, ECR. Report dates 12/5, SE 80, 2820. And the site visit was also 12/5/2025. Detailed description of work, the applicant is filed to construct in addition to the existing dental office and add 4 parking spaces in the buffer zone. The property has pre-existed as a dentist's office for 30 years. Recent ZBA approval has allowed the expansion proposed. The wetland line was flagged by Brad Holmes, ECR, ECR, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, the ERC, that's good. ECR and is accurately represented, wetlands flag A1 through A24. The proposed 44 by 21 addition is off the rear of the building and will be constructed 22 feet from the wetland edge. The proposed extent of work near the building will be constructed 22 feet from the wetland edge. I'm sorry, the proposed extent of the work will have a 25-foot no activity zone for the majority of the site except near the addition and the narrows to 19 feet. The work will also include adding 4 additional paved parking spaces along the rear. Stormwater will include roof runoff infiltration into a dry well system and a riprap level spreader at the end of the parking lot. The riprap apron will slow stormwater flow and allow it to filter the existing woodland. The applicant will be in the near future installing a new septic design. The project is meeting the stormwater management requirements to the maximum extent feasible on this small area. Impacted areas of buffer zone and recommendations to Westport Conservation Commission should consider approving the proposed addition and 4 parking spaces pending Board of Health and with standard conditions, roof runoff infiltrated and riprap level spreader created. Board of Health approval, what's that? Is that for the runoff?
I think it's the septic design, right?
I think that's coming next.
Yeah.
All right, so you don't need that right now, then?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it might trigger the Board of Health stormwater rig, but it depends on the total area of additional impervious.
Did you run those calculations to make sure to check that out, see if you meet their stormwater regs at the Board of Health?
I'll have to follow with the engineer to do that.
All right.
I know he's going to be filing with the Board of Health.
All right, well, we can ask Chris, he'll know if he ever comes back one of these days. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
The printer will be fine.
You said he has pending Board of Health. Did he meet this, did he trip the stormwater regulations?
No.
Okay, so he's not pending Board of Health then?
He's pending Board of Health for the upgrade of the septic system, and it was concerned for the number of dentists relative to the usage of the building.
But that's the next filing, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So there is no necessarily issues with them at this time, but they
Okay.
did make some precursory comments.
All right.
I had a question.
Go ahead, Phil.
I just wondered why, were there design requirements or mandates to construct the addition 22 feet from the wetland edge rather than the 25 feet? Because we're we have a policy about.
It's a pre-existing building. It's been there for many years. It's in a tight location, and they've done a great job of trying to fit that in and giving us a 19-foot setback. So we will gain 19 feet there with it extending to 20 and then over to 25 feet. So they do give us 25, but not right at that building corner.
Plus they have
Is
enhanced
that the
stormwater
same?
too.
Okay. It was just those the sequence of the sentences I didn't get, because you have the addition will be constructed 22 feet from the wetland edge, and then it says there'll be within 25 feet, there'll be no activity except for the addition. It narrows to 19. I just didn't quite figure out how they.
Yeah, so
wrote that.
25 foot from this side extends over to 20 and then to 19 right at the corner of the building.
Okay.
So they are, but in this one location, they can't give
Yeah,
us
I know,
it
yeah.
fully,
Okay.
given the tight constraints of the property.
I thought that was kind of related to the parking as distinct from the addition. That's what I was confused with.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And they upgrade the stormwater too, which is a bonus.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, they're making those improvements, yes.
I just have one question, Brett. In your presentation, you said the 4 additional parking spots are going to be gravel.
My understanding was that they were gonna be gravel, but now when I look at this, it says, he's got proposed area to be regraded and finished with gravel/pavement. So,
I would say it's going to be paved
I'd say.
and go from
Yeah,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't want you to have a discrepancy with the ZBA. That was all. So-
No, the ZBA was more for the addition than the extension of the parking, but yes, I do believe it's gonna be paved, and then that riprap apron will be able to take that treated water off that macadam and treat it before it enters into that resource area.
Any other questions? Any questions from the audience? All right, no questions. A motion?
To approve.
Motion from Jake, do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Burr, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous, though. Thank you, Brad. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you. Thank
Have a nice holiday, Brad.
you guys too. Thanks.
All right, Eversource, notice of intent, Hicksbridge Road. Duck bank installation in flood zone and riverfront.
I got the form to you, Mr. Chairman, I apologize.
That's okay.
The printer's gonna have 10 when I get up there, but it wouldn't speak.
How are you tonight?
So I did bring a copy of the map, but I saw that you guys all have a copy.
Yeah,
I'll
I did, go ahead, yes, because we knew they'd be small in relation to, so I gave the members little ones that they could purview while you were speaking.
I'm gonna just put it up on the page that has.
Make sure you leave room on there for extra transformers, so we have good power this time.
Make it Alright, there we go. Okay,
Green cards, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
They're-
have all been
they're in here.
provided.
Yeah, they're here.
There you go.
Thank you.
So I'm Dorothy Lawrence, I'm with BHB. With me today also is James Clancy, Senior Licensed Determining Specialist with Eversource. We're here to discuss the distributed energy project for Eversource and the installation of a duct bank within Hicksbridge Road, Horseneck Road, and Drift Road. The jurisdictional area here is essentially within the floodplain. It's the land subject to coastal storm flowage. Everything else is within buffer zone or the front area, which is exempt under the Wetlands Protection Act. We did identify wetlands all along the route, which you can see. I won't finger through it, but you can see we have proposed erosion controls along all of the wetlands that we identified along the road, and then also along the bridge. We're going to be installing this open trench method, which is just essentially excavating a trench typically 3 feet wide, 4 to 5 feet deep, encasing the duct bank in concrete, putting it on a bed of sand, backfill, tam fill, and then we pave the area. The work will be limited to the project that can be, portion of the project that can be completed in 1 day. So then at the end of the day, we'll essentially put like one of those steel plates at the edge so the contractor can come back and pick up at the end, but essentially the majority of it will be paved. They'll just have that one end point so they can pick up where they ended. All the disturbance is temporary in nature. The other thing that I wanted to note is that we're not actually trenching across the bridge itself. There is existing duct bank already in the bridge that they're going to utilize. They're going to access it through these 2 manholes right here. So they'll essentially install a duct bank to the manhole here and to the manhole here on either side. And that's essentially the gist of the project. The jurisdictional area is within the floodplain here and here. There's only a couple feet in this area, and the majority of it is on this side. Everything else is in buffer zone and riverfront area, which is exempt from the Wetlands Protection Act. All of it is in the paved roadway surface, and it will return pavement once complete.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I threw some questions at Dorothy, and I think some of the members may have that question. But first of all, the project's going to start sometime in February 2026. The majority of the work is going to be on the south side of Hicksbridge Road with a 4-foot deep trench. What was the other question I asked you? How far up Horseneck and Drift Road do you anticipate that work to be? On Horseneck Road, there was...
It's only like a couple hundred feet.
It's only a couple hundred feet?
Yeah, it's right here and then Horseneck.
And then Horseneck really, it just appeared to end before you got to that resource area.
I think it's roughly maybe a half mile on Horseneck, but it's not.
And then they're
very
gonna
far.
daylight to a pole, is that what its intentions
I
are?
would assume so.
Okay.
Either that or tie into something that's already existing.
Okay, all right. I think that was the 3 questions I had, but I'll read my report, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, so.
And again, the other was on dewatering, that any dewatering will be done with a stacked hay bale line, pumping the water into it to allow it to settle, or Dorothy mentioned maybe a vacuum truck if it is needed. But as she mentioned, this is a very quick operation. The contractor is digging, closing this trench at the end of the day. That's normally, and then the wires get pulled through the conduit at a later time. This is kind of a little quicker, so it's not going to be. I also asked about traffic around the Hicksbridge Landing concerning the time of year. But I think if it's in the winter season, it wouldn't affect too many people, but maybe the commercial guys that may try to get in if it's open at certain times during that time. So this is Eversource. This proposed project is Hicks Bridge, but it also includes a small section of Drift and Horseneck Roads, just within close proximity to that intersections. Then NOI has been filed by Eversource to install electrical services within the road layout of Hicks Bridge Road from Dartmouth to the Hicks Bridge crossing. The Hicks Bridge itself crossing the river. The electrical trench will be buried 4-foot depth within the roadway. Additional work will be commenced at Hicks Bridge, where the existing electrical manholes convey electric across the bridge toward Drift Road. The work will fall within the riverfront, bordering land subject to flooding in the buffer zone. The activity will require excavating and placing conduit, pipes and wires being pulled at a later date. Excavating may encounter groundwater, so the applicants have provided a detailed sheet for dewatering that may be needed. This will be accomplished by creating a hay bale lined area to discharge water, or they may pump with a vacuum truck depending on what is discovered. This work solely applies to an exemption for utilities in a public way, except for where they get into the riverfront reaches, as Dorothy showed you, and that bordering land subject to flooding. But again, this is an existing manhole within the road of Hicks Bridge, so this again is not as significant in that area as it appears to be. I think this is a straightforward project. This is an additional utility in relation to what the overhead wires carry. This is 2 separate, I guess, as they say, the 2 separate needs, and not necessarily is it for specific use. They also mentioned the solar entities that are appearing in Westport. This is also for upgrading for those sources that may be needed as those projects become finalized. That one on Drift Road is Sewell's Way. The other solar project is actually, the one that is permitted is way down on the small property at the end of Horseneck Road. There was another one on Horseneck Road that was considered, but it was not come to fruition because of wetlands concerns, and that one was on Paul Gay's property. So some of this is relative to that, but this is not solely the reason, I believe, from what I saw at the selectmen's meeting, that it's meant for. I think, was that fine with what I said?
Yeah, we're not affiliated with the solar.
No, I know. No, but it's they're putting the power back into
Yeah,
the
so they're
grid.
essentially upgrading the system so that we can intake more renewables.
Okay. So for the commission, I would recommend the Westport Conservation consider approving the work with conditions on dewatering be conducted in accordance with the provided detail. Erosion controls are installed along the edge of the roadway at the buffer zone areas. And again, this is given a file number SE 802821 with no adverse conditions. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Questions?
I've got a question and a comment. I think during that February time period, there'll be some commercial oystering.
Right.
So if you could just like post when those dates will be that the ramp may not be accessible,
Okay.
just to give the fishermen some notice. It's
Yeah,
probably all workable.
Sort of elevated that concern to the project management team.
Yeah.
And they'll hopefully design traffic and speak to the town ahead of
Yeah.
time to try to figure out a way to approach that.
Yeah, there's a turf field battle at the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
end of
for
the ramp, so it's, you can't just shut down one and still have the other.
Yeah.
So, and just out of curiosity, I live right in that area. There are some houses and some places where you couldn't go off the side of the road, but why was the decision made to tear up the road versus go off the side of the road and trench it there versus, you know, dig up the asphalt?
I would assume, that's an engineering question really. The only thing I can make an assumption is it's probably more beneficial to disturb already disturbed areas, whereas the sides of the road are less disturbed.
In the road layout, although it's larger than what the asphalt is, that may impede stone walls and
Yeah.
other driveways
There are a lot.
and a lot of other things, so.
Yeah, you couldn't do it in someone's yard, but, yeah,
Well,
yeah, well, obviously, but
you probably wouldn't want us to know.
yeah, no.
I did suggest that maybe she contact the highway surveyor as well, because I did identify a culvert they missed, because some of these, it just, you don't know where they are unless you know where they are.
Yeah.
So I did give her a little heads up on that one, but I wouldn't be surprised if she may find something in those along J Tripp section, because I would assume that water was equalized at one time and sediment and road layout and things may have, again.
I also relate that information to the
I
project
appreciate that,
manager.
and I don't think that-
The wetland there is actually more than 100, it's roughly 125 feet, that's why it's not mapped on
I
that.
got you.
Because it's outside of.
Correct, yes, that's why, but I know there's a pipe there.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the neighbor,
I forwarded that whole email chain to the project
and the neighbor would probably be happy if we damage it too, because they kind of wanted us to fix it, and we were trying to avoid it, but anyways, that's all I had.
Yeah, yeah. If we gained another 2 or 3 feet of relatively flat area on the side of the road, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
We run and like walk dogs around there, and you go from the road, like it drops right off.
Yeah,
So,
I walked that, I did part of the delineation on this, it was a very narrow street and
It
a
is.
very busy road,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's all.
Commercial days too, I think are Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Is that
You said.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and
And
Saturdays?
that's
I
related
think
to
they're
the
commercial
shellfish.
Yeah.
So
shellfishing days.
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday?
Correct.
Okay, we'll write that down.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
Just a question here. So this is going in the existing road layout. What is the plan for the repair or bringing it back to its original condition of the roadways? We've had issues in town with our water line issue on the north end, and you know what is this, especially with the time frame we're doing in February? You know, putting asphalt back in is obviously not a possibility at that point, right? Or is it
They, as far as I know, they're gonna repave same day.
same day?
So the only thing that will be exposed at the end of the day is a portion which is under the end and underneath the steel
Okay.
plate, to my knowledge. If that changes at some point, I will let you know, but.
I think that's just a
I think,
concern.
if I may, through the chair, that they probably will be obligated through the highway surveyor to, obviously, that's not a recently paved road, but to bring it to, if there's settling, obviously, Jake's not wrong, you get settlement as well as a compact, you have frost and heaves, and so you're probably gonna have some uneven, but I think that they would have to bring that up to grade once the settlement ceases in the spring.
So about how many feet a day would you be excavating?
Linear feet, probably between, I'd say 80 to 100 feet, they usually do
Okay.
about a day.
And then the
It
whole
varies.
project, how many feet is the whole project? You know?
I don't know off the top of my head, the total, it's 3.4 miles.
Wow, okay.
I think the general length of time they're expecting to do this would be 5 months.
Okay.
Obviously,
Yeah.
there's some sorry. There is some fluctuation in that for things that we can't
Oh,
control,
sure.
such as
Yeah.
weather, so, it could potentially get extended, should
Yeah.
something come up, but that's the goal.
It seems they always choose the winter, whether it be a solar startup project. I think construction is at its low, so they're able to get contractors, but
Yeah,
it's also a difficult time of year as well.
yeah. Well, traffic will be down too, you know.
Well, yes, traffic is lighter,
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
And just another question through the chair. So you're saying it's a 5-month window, and you're saying you start in February, so that puts you in June. Inevitably, there'll be delays, so we have some pretty important businesses in those areas with Buzzards Bay Brewery and the winery. I mean, if we start getting into a June and July timeframe, I think there should be some concerns, or at least alleviate concerns by maybe not continuing with that project if you're in that timeframe in the summertime.
So this is another thing that I can sort of move up to the project management level to, and they can, discuss that and perhaps come up with,
Okay.
some type of thing that works for
Summer
everybody.
concert
Have you-
series starts
Yeah.
around then.
Yeah. In May.
You get about 1,000 cars there at the winery.
At the Where is it?
So
Right on
water-
Hicks Bridge is the winery, just
You
up
can look up
front.
the summer.
But is that a night series or a day
It's a
series?
late afternoon to, yeah.
So I can,
Stay late out, yeah.
I can,
Late afternoon.
you know, I'm environmental, so there's not only so much I can do. I can basically, you know, relay this information to the project management team and just say that these are concerns that were
Yeah.
brought up during
Yeah.
the discussion, and then they can take it from there.
Yeah. So along that line, I would just suggest if Eversource would, you know, set up like a website that people could check into, like, here's the work area we're gonna work on today, or here's this week's plan, kind of thing, just so people could make
There
a
is a
plan.
website for this particular project.
Okay.
It's on Eversource. It's the label of the map, the Distributed Energy Resource
Okay.
Project, and it says Dartmouth, Westport as one central area.
So
So there
maybe
is
the-
some information on the Eversource website regarding these projects.
Well, just if they, you know, update it even on a weekly basis, here's the work plan for the week.
Mhm.
That might, as the season rolls forward, that might be really helpful.
Okay, I can again relay that
Yeah,
information
again, I'm
to
not
them.
holding it, I won't put that as a condition in the approval.
I
but
appreciate that.
Just suggest it.
Chair, I got another question.
Go ahead, Jake.
Obviously, a lot of this is outside of the scope of the conservation, but I think I'm putting on a different hat that I have on in town. And I think that there needs to be kind of constant communication and messaging as the project goes on, either through the town administrator or through the select board, with respect to road closures, impacts. You know, we've seen it with the water line, and so I'm just echoing the sentiments that we all kind of brought up, is that if this goes into the summertime, there's probably going to be a lot of issues and a lot of concerns.
Increased
So
traffic, okay.
you're going to have to at least elevate that, or at least have a contingency plan in place that if you end up in that June, or at least after Memorial Day timeframe, that, you know, you're either waiting a little while or a couple months to get back, because you know, what is the real purpose of this project, though?
It's essentially an upgrade to the system so that we can integrate more renewables into
So
service.
it's essentially to integrate with solar and possible landing of cables for offshore wind here in Westport as well? or-
I don't have any information regarding that, and
Well, there's a 3-year window on that, but yeah.
It's a good question.
yeah. I don't know specifically like where they're gonna draw power.
Just building more capacity, right,
Sure.
for the train.
Go for it.
I can add just a
Just
little
there.
bit. So James Clancy with Eversource, Senior Environmental Specialist. As far as this project is concerned, the PV projects that have already been approved to connect to this are the only ones that are currently approved to connect to it. So there's no, from my understanding, there's no offshore wind connections for this portion, this group in this region of the state. It's just solar. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, one more
Yeah, that's
question.
fine.
I think, you know, where you begin and end would affect the timing and the potential traffic conflicts. You know, we have a lot less summer traffic coming from Dartmouth into Westport.
So the other
And
end.
a lot more traffic coming off of 88, you know, heading from,
So the
west to
western,
east.
more the western side.
Yeah, so,
Correct.
I mean, if the project, if it commenced on the westbound side heading east from Westport
In
toward
the
Dartmouth.
winter and then moved forward.
Yeah, you'd probably have that
It would be
carbon
easier.
project knocked
Yeah,
off
and if
before
that
the
cleared
spring.
before, so when
Or I can also, again, relay that information
Yeah.
to them, and then let them take the reins from there.
All right, any other questions? All right, any questions from the audience? No. All right, motion?
Okay, so I'll move to approve the roadway installation project, subject to the conditions that are stated in Chris's report, including conditions related to dewatering in accordance with detailed erosion plans, particularly in the buffer zone areas, and dewatering or vacuum trucks where that's necessary.
All right, that was Phil. We have a second.
Second.
Second, for all in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
All right, that's
Can I
unanimous.
just
Oh, no, I'm
clarify
sorry.
that? I'm just stressing my opposition because I've been continuing to be opposed to this. I really don't know what the future will hold with respect to tying in offshore cables and wind, and I'm not a major proponent of solar from the standpoint of clear cutting forest to put solar in. So nothing against your presentation, it's just how I've been consistent all along, so thank you.
All right, that was everybody but Jake. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You all have a great night.
You too.
Have a great night. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Enjoy your holiday.
Yep, okay.
Lawrence.
All right, that's it for the hearings tonight. I guess we can pay some bills and stuff. Minutes, 11:25. Who's yours, Mr. Jason? Let's see who's here.
I have a comment on the executive session minutes, if that's the right date.
That is in there, yes.
Okay, so, which is that it's the sentence that says, the riverfront regulations and DEP policy allow viable alternatives to be sold, to remove it as an option, and it's really that they don't allow, viable alternatives to be sold, to remove it as an option.
All right, so basically we need to add the word "don't" in there. We can bring these minutes back
Yeah.
next time. So after the 88-2, you want to put the word "don't."
Yes, 88.
Right after
Do not in
88-2.
place of do.
That's correct.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just leave that with you, young lady. All right. So back to the regular minutes. It doesn't say who was here.
I think you had, was it Phil, Jason, myself, and Bert? I think we have all four here.
Yeah, we
All
have
right.
Carter and no merchant.
We weren't
And you
here.
weren't.
All right, I wasn't here either, so any
make-
change?
Motion to approve.
Yeah.
All right, do we have a second?
Second?
Second.
Second from Phil, all in favor?
Aye.
Minus the abstentions, okay, so Jason, you get to sign this one because you're so important. All right.
Ran very smoothly, for the record.
East Bay Media, $369 for advertising for hearings. Need a motion to pay.
Motion to pay.
Second?
Second from Phil, that was, who was that, Kevin and Phil?
Yeah.
All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous now. Marine Fisheries letter for Dartmouth Fish Restoration Memorandum. Do you want to discuss that?
I don't even know what it is, but yeah.
All right. That one you can talk about too, if you want. Okay, so we have the October 14th minutes. It was opened by the almighty chair, Paul Jonkis. President were Commissioners Mr. McGuigan, Jason Powell, Kevin Carter, and Bert and Phil. Oh, we can vote on this.
Perfect. Motion approved.
All right, do we have a second?
Second?
That was Jake and Phil, all in favor.
Aye.
All right, anybody opposed? All right. It's a good night. Oh, 10:28, see if we can keep it going, guys. I was opened by me. President was Jake, Tom, well, that was the one night, that was an anomaly.
The annual visit.
Phil, and that was it, so, that's all right, so we can't do this because Tom wasn't here.
Oh, Tom dependent again.
Oh my God, we'll get this will be a 2026 deal. All right, WB Mason bill for office supplies, $104.05. Need a motion to pay.
Motion to pay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jake and, Jason, there's no signature on this, you want me to just sign the form itself, or we're good? It's a bill.
Well, this is just a statement of account, you don't have to go in.
Oh, all right,
It just has to be sent over to,
all right, so we can rescind that vote then, we don't need it?
I'll have to send it over to them. We've already submitted those.
Okay.
They just haven't-
All right, so that vote is not necessary, guys.
No.
All right, Mr. Chris, what do you have for us, buddy?
This is, the Graves Gristmill Dam. I was gonna bring this up at the next meeting. This is a little bit of a concern. The state is willing to make changes to the Gristmill Dam, but in the meantime, the current owner has pulled boards out of the dam to lower the water level. So the Fish Commissioners have been with a conversation with the owner who has ignored their offerings to repair this with volunteers and volunteered lumber. So the homeowner has come into some concerns over the past couple months with use of the property. I think some people are aware there was a canteen trailer put on the property in hopes that they would be able to utilize it, but I think under the ZBA ruling for the property, it was not something that should be allowed. One of the reason I'm stating this, there was some retaliatory, I believe, action taken by this owner to pull these boards out. I am going to be meeting with Brad Chase. I haven't been able to schedule a time yet. He's willing to come before the board, but what he's asking to do, because the applicant has to maintain a certain water level per his memorandum agreement with the state to operate and utilize this dam. He has to maintain a water level that is above the mouth of the actual fish ladder. And currently the fish ladder is high and dry because of the boards being lowered. So I have been in conversation with Mr. Chase on if he was aware of the board removals. He said yes. But then he mentioned that the landowner may reinstall the board. So I wanted to clarify before I came to this board that it shouldn't be a question if he does. It should be he has to. And so that's something I wanted to clarify before I brought it to your full attention. But that's generally what this is. And then this is the wetlands policy for allowance of the diagenous fisheries stream management. So the law allows the DMF to do the work under the exemptions, even though the Fish Commissioners were going to help repair it. He chose to have the DMF do it, which is fine. But at the same time, they're considering potentially lowering the ladder to a certain degree. I just didn't want to see it be lowered to the level that it is now, because there is inadequate water for skating and other recreational uses that occur on the pond. So I will be further bringing that to your attention. The second thing today, Phil and I attended the DEP site visit for Jonathan Buckman, Banner Construction, with the state as well as the opponents. It was interesting in discussion. I think we still have a fair chance to influence the state's determinations on the property. We also had a discussion with town council to submit a letter in response to their superseding request. And Phil and I spoke on the phone with Alex Weiss from KP Law, and he is in the process of finalizing that letter. I just got the information from Michael to him. So amongst this discussion, it was brought to light by Phil and the consideration the board may have if the applicant was willing to place a conservation restriction in lieu of using the alternative location and allowing him to access that area. With that said, I don't know if the board wants to consider this that right now. It's that it would be pulled from the superseding level and brought back to a public hearing, which we would have to amend our decision to denial and bring it back to the table. In the meantime, Mr. Buckman has a large hurdle, and that is the planning board. The planning board has specific requirements relative to this prior approval that Mr. Buckman would have to present his case. Speaking with Michael Burris, the town planner, he felt that the way the flexible frontage regulation was written, it's meant to protect rivers. It's meant to protect scenic areas, and it may not be permissible as he has represented on his portrayal of accessing that area. So Phil and I spoke to the state and to Mr. Buckman and his attorney that we believe he should at least be applying to the planning board and getting their blessing or their non-blessing. I think before this commission should consider allowing a conservation restriction. That's just my opinion, but I also think this would set a precedent for the community, and I thought that a third-party review from the state may help us to get some of those questions answered, that we feel that this clearly is not meeting in some aspects as far as the alternative lot that is available that would not alter any wetlands. Again, Mr. Buckman's attorney thinks otherwise, and he thinks all financial matters relative to the use and value of this property comes into play, being a scenic river lot. We did walk out to the property. We allowed Mr. Buckman to bring us out to the area. Again, it's a lovely area, but it is quite a difficult task to get there, which Mr. Buckman has presented a plan that represents meeting all performance standards. So his design was above and beyond what would be allowed by others. I mean, he was creating some bridges in where you didn't have to. So that's just an update for the board.
So
again, just to give you that.
If we came here and said that, we wanted to do the conservation restriction route, he still may not be able to do it anyway because the planning board has to allow it too, as well.
Yes, with that CR, I would say it could sweeten the planning board's consideration because you would be preserving and protecting an area. But again, Michael didn't feel that the plan reflected what the flexible frontage rules are. He felt that it was again, just in his opinion, was not what that rule was designed for. It was designed to allow someone to develop something with the preservation of the land in mind, and not, again, making the most use of the land, in other words. So that's basically where we're at right now. So the town council has created this letter. He had some questions for dates that Michael Burris's letter reflected on the plans he reviewed. We have since changed that. So I think this letter could be available sent to the state by the end of the week.
So do we need to act on putting it on the agenda to discuss the CR conservation restriction for next meeting?
Well, I think if we would do that, we would probably do it in executive session.
Okay.
But just to clarify, I actually I did raise, after the abutter, the property of the abutter, and seeing the property, I kind of understood more about what the particular abutter there, what their issue was with, which involved what we saw on that basically Mr. Buckman, kind of came in with the 3 houses proposal.
Right.
And one involved the driveway up here, on one side of the property, the lane that was never really approved. And so I didn't propose doing a conservation restriction. I just said, well, that under certain circumstances, this might be an opportunity to compromise, to come up with a compromise. Not, but I've reflected more on that, and I think that there are issues with that. But just 2 specific things. One is that the Greg, can't remember his last name now. Anyway, the DEP representative indicated that if there was going to be any additional filings of papers, it should be done by January 15th. and that would be the cutoff date. For example, if we wanted to respond more to the allegations as to why, from the applicant, because right now, the only thing that is in motion is the issue with, the pre-existing permit. And then the second thing so that, given holiday and everything, that's a fairly tight decision timeline of what we were going to do. But the thing that is kind of unclear at this point is that, Mr. Buckman made the point that it almost seemed like there was this rush to purchase the property, and he didn't really pay attention, and he added this extension so it didn't fall out, just to keep his options open. He never really even entered that part of the property to see what was going on. But what the wetlands reg says is that the application has to be filed with the zoning board. That's the normal thing. So it's still not clear to me what the planning board is going to do. He could still file an application and come back and ask us to make a decision based on or pursue the SOC, because if he was starting from scratch, it would be a normal thing to come to the Conservation Commission and get our approval before he might go to the zoning board, because it's, so I don't know quite how that's going to work out, because I think the letter from the lawyer is not going to say stop the SOC review project. It's just that the applicant needs to file an application. And so he might file an application but still come here and say, okay, I filed my application. And I think that the substance of the conversation was the applicant reiterating his position that an alternative could turn on whether, on the property value of the house that he wanted to construct versus the alternative. And he's still making that case. And I made the case that I thought there's no basis in the wetland regulations for that position. And I don't think that the person from DEP really said, well, we have to come back and think about that. He didn't really have an answer off the top of his head about it, which is really, somewhat the biggest part of it. And I think the part with the compromise, how we think about it, is the problem, is that in both the, exception policy and also I think in the wetlands regulations, it says you shouldn't be doing transactions like land transactions that eliminate an alternative before you come in and okay, this property's big enough for 2 houses and I want my house here, so I'm just going to sell off this other property and then come in and say there's no alternative. This is the only, where before...
You're creating a hardship.
Yeah, creating a hardship. You can't create a hardship. And so even though, I, just to say, I am not advocating, for a compromise because but if the alternative is that either he or someone else, depending on what the select board does, ends up, because he can't get to what he wants, his was, if I can't get what I want, I'm going to build 3 houses here, if the planning board lets me. And that is, and so it's really a mess, to be honest. It's really pretty messy. But at least at this point, I think we're gonna submit the letter that is gonna, if DEP agrees, is gonna compel him to file an application.
Well, if the three houses are out of our jurisdiction, then I don't understand why that matters. I mean,
They wouldn't be. They would be in our jurisdiction. That's the only way that he could construct something would be to
Yeah.
build them in
Is
the
that
buffer
like,
zone.
give me this, or this is going to happen? Did you feel is that what you felt? Did you feel
No,
like if
well, I
don't
think
get
that,
what I want, I'm gonna build 3 houses here?
well, I think that, I would say that, it seems extremely unlikely that, based on that he was selling, that he would just simply say, fine, I'll build my house on the 2 acre, how big is it, Chris, the 2 acre lot?
1.37 acres
Yeah,
is
so
what
on
that
the
building
1.3, which is right next to the roadway, he's just not gonna do that. So then he's gonna have to make a decision as to what to do with the rest of the land, of the 14 acre parcel, which might be, he'll just say, well, I'm gonna sell it, and let somebody else deal with it. Or he would say, because he believes he would have the right to complete the paper road and build a road there to get access outside the wetland area and, build a house there and build a house, maybe it wouldn't be 3 houses, I don't know how, and build, 2 homes at a minimum. The one that the select board, the planning board approved, and the other one that he has access to, which has never been constructed. So,
do we need another executive session to discuss anything next week, or next meeting, I should say? Are we all set?
I don't know how the board wants to go. If the board, we voted to send this letter, which we are about to send, so.
Right.
The DEP has given us parties to discuss till January 15th, and then after January, they will take over and render a decision. I don't know if he can get with the planning board by January 15th. I certainly think he could potentially get something before them, but I'm not aware of their time schedule. So
We could put a meeting executive session just on the agenda. We don't have to have it, but just so it's there in case we do want to have it.
I would suggest it,
I mean,
Mr. Chairman.
typically, on a lot of the other meetings I go to, executive session is always at the end of the agenda for every meeting, just in case you want to have
I will say I
it.
got a call from Alex, or rather it's email, because Adam immediately left and called him and said, oh, they said they may go with a CR, so Alex is like, oh, so.
Yeah.
So he sent me an email saying, I think we should maybe discuss, so why don't we schedule a conversation with him at the end of the week?
Right.
And go from there.
Right.
Again, the attorneys are friendly with each other, that's why the call went to each other, and Alex did state that he knows Adam, and I'm sure they've dealt with many issues before, but that's where I would wait. I would schedule it, Leon, put an executive session
I would just have it
on the next agenda, and we'll see if we need to come to that.
I would have it on the end of every agenda, to be honest with you, before, just have it there. If we don't do it, we don't do it. You don't have to go into executive session, but if it's there, you can.
Okay.
All right, that's just a good rule of thumb.
Yeah. Well, I guess I think that, to me, the next step that we could have the conversation with Alex about, once they receive the letter, is whether or not they will file an application with the select board or not. And then I think that would then give us, springboard's not the right word, but we really kind of understand that, and then DEP would have to, anyway, we can talk about it more, but to me that is
Our next meeting
the
is the
pivotal point.
23rd. Is
Yeah.
everyone going to be here?
Yeah, it might not be here. I don't know.
So I want to make.
Why don't we just send an email? I'll just send an email tomorrow. Everybody can get back to you and check the schedule just to make sure.
Okay.
And when they get home, they can check the schedule tomorrow, because that's a 23rd is kind of a tight date.
Yeah, right now we have a light, well, we have a light agenda. See, the other matter is the DCR issue, which is to be brought to the board as opening the meeting, but immediately continuing it.
Yeah.
So we wanted to have a discussion on DCR because they agreed to get MIPA's comments and they signed the 21-day waiver form. So we would just be opening the hearing and continuing to a date in the future. So I think we have one other hearing with that and a couple of COCs. So yeah, it's not a heavy agenda at the moment. Yes.
To Chris's point, I wanted to see if we could maybe, there's been a lot of pushback on the DCR plan. Obviously, they saw what happened last time and not happy with the new plan that's been presented. So I wanted to see if there was a possibility for the Conservation Commission to send a letter to the fire chief, Baldwin, asking his opinion of the letter that was originally submitted, whether he thought that that was necessary. I mean, most of it was just recommendations and pushing for the state to actually maintain the current road, but maybe just to see if we could send a letter to the chief and ask for clarification of what was really meant based on the regulations that were cited.
Yeah, I think that's fine, because a lot of times you see the private road, the fire department always says they like X feet of width, but when it's not feasible or within, reasonably feasible, sometimes there's wetlands, sometimes it's just the expense, then they give it a waiver and they shrink that down. I mean, again, it's a matter of what you want versus what you need, and I think they may need less than what they would like, and I think that's a poor reason to do the destruction that they're doing.
I would ask that you make a motion for that. I have no problem.
I just made one.
I second it.
All
There
right.
you go.
See that? Make a motion to send that letter to the fire department asking what their actual needs are versus their wants.
Thank you.
Because it's, I think that's a poor excuse to destroy the dunes at Parsnip Beach.
And just to point out, Bridge Street, which is a public way, to access that healthy trail is only 16 feet wide.
Very narrow.
Right now.
Right now.
And it's two-way traffic, cars, because
You gotta go
all the time, people live on that road, so I don't think that they need 16 feet. I mean, I can't understand why they can't get over 10 or 12 feet on the beach.
They want 20.
They want 20.
Yeah, okay. They want more than Bridge Street that gets them there.
Yeah,
So they're gonna go up a 16-foot road to get to a 20-foot road. All right, makes a lot of sense.
All right, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Not the smartest guy in the room, but I'll tell you, it doesn't make sense to
You
me.
may have to take a vote on
The
that.
dam we were
Yeah.
discussing with
Yeah.
the Schneider, where is that located exactly?
The Gristmill Dam?
Oh, you mean the one at Adam?
On your way home.
Adamsville Pond, yeah.
Yeah, on your way home.
I drive by that all the time.
Yes.
You do.
Yeah, you notice it's a little lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Well, we haven't had a hell of a lot of rain, it's been dry, right?
Well,
oh no, we've had two inches of rain. That son of a gun would be, at least the rocks would be covered if the boards were
I
there.
always noticed that rock, because it's
All right.
down in the summer.
Yeah.
but before we move on, let me just finish my motion. I made my motion, Jake seconded it, and we need a vote. All in favor, this is to send the letter. The fire department. Opposed? Okay. Go ahead, Jason.
So you kind of commingle two things without any discussion. It was the dam and then the Buckman project. On that dam, Brad, I was part of that project way back when I was in the Fish Commission, and that fish ladder was never well designed for repairing. And Ralph Guild had already paid for it, it was already in process, and everyone felt really bad, but when it was installed, everyone knew it wouldn't be effective. So if that has to be modified or tweaked, just get Brad's opinion on it. Why spend money fixing something that has never worked?
Yep, it's the time to do
No,
it right.
again,
Yeah.
usually his intention is to lower it, but I want to make sure it's not lowered to the benefit of the homeowner, because I'm making an assumption here. I think the penstock may be bringing water into the building and maybe causing moisture concerns. I don't know, but when the pond is full, the penstock is full. and the water doesn't necessarily, they can let the water go through the building, or it can bypass, close it, and let it all go out the dam. So I don't know why all of a sudden he feels he needed to do that, so, again, but yes, I would certainly agree with Brad's concerns.
All right.
Thank you.
We have a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
That's unanimous, Leon. Thank you. Thank you, Valerie.